Boy, you spend the week not doing any videos, you come back and Restream's made itself all fancy and stuff. I mean, look at this. Got like gradients going on in the background based on my avatar. It's all cool. Anyway, hey, yeah, it's been a little bit since the last video because there has not been much that I've really wanted to cover. And while I did make a post polling for any ideas people may have, um, I'm adding that to the list of things I'm going to get around to, which is an eternal list that never gets any lower. But for the YouTube sector, it's a small list of things I want to cover. A show. We're here. We're going to look at more of everyone's favorite cult leader, 0645 2017. You will notice that I set up a goal in the chat. If we can get 10 of those $5 or more super chats, Caruso Tomato will immediately take a look at the Man of Mormon cartoon. And that might be a fun way to celebrate. Just trying to start the month off strong. Nothing critical. I'll get to that one either way. But if you have the means, it always helps. Always. But yeah, let's get to that screen sharing. So here we are on good old Dr. Dino's Rumble. And so here's what he's been doing. Between the Pastor Meister videos and them starting to upload videos, they're uploading like YouTube shorts and stuff as straight up videos on here, which I mean it's an attempt, but Rumble doesn't really have a shorts format as far as I understand, so kind of a wasted effort there. Um, he's had this Bob Holmes guy on. This is the one-man volleyball team who goes around and preaches about the gospel and talks about the dangers of evolution and stuff. And it's been propaganda city. Not only is the lack of charisma between the two, um, is it, you know, somehow creating negative charisma. Like they enhance each other's patheticness to the point where there's nothing to be gained by watching them. It's painful. I couldn't do it. Um, a lot of it is basically DVD5 Redux combined with some other BS. And I had enough of that covering DVD5. I don't care. I just I've just let it go. And honestly, if I wanted to watch a botched clone of Skeletor say a bunch of boring crap, I was going to make an Emperor Palpatine joke there, but then I realized that Emperor Palpatine is never boring. So that joke failed miserably. I apologize. Stream's over. Good night. Nah. But what we are going to do is go on and take a look at his open mic challenge. So, yes, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were all devoted to this Bob Holmes guy. And what's wrong with our public schools? Which means it took Hovind a combined, let's see, 45, 30, 30, hour and 45 minutes plus, which is actually on par for him to ramble on about what's wrong with the school system, which isn't what's wrong with the school system. There's a lot wrong with the American public school systems, mostly caused by people like him, but that's another discussion for another time. Enough preamble. Let's get to 0645 2017.
Good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here in the crew at Dinosaur.
All right, making sure my volume's up all the way. Okay, yeah, it's up all the way.
Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. It is February 28th, the last day of the month. If you want to get something done for the Lord this month, better hurry. Do something. Have you read your Bible yet this month?
No, and I don't intend on it.
I want to think about that. Anyway, we're on lots of different channels. You can see them all there on Ken Hovind Official on Facebook and Twitter. And they took us off of which one, brother? TikTok. TikTok for a week for they couldn't handle something. I don't know. That's right. Okay. We're on Rumble and our own.
Austin, unless something's changed that I didn't catch wind of in the past couple of hours. Grayson was saying in his stream earlier that it seems like that debate isn't going to happen. Again, unless something has changed from a couple of hours ago when Grayson was doing his trash talking stream, which is, I just whistled there, which is something y'all should check out. It was pretty neat.
app, they can't take that one down at all. Just get used to going to that one, okay?
And yes, Kent, your app, quote unquote, can be taken down. You are paying for a service that has its own terms and conditions, and if they feel you violated them, it can go just as quick as any other platform, unless you're hosting the stuff yourself on your own damn computers. And you know, as long as your ISP doesn't decide to get involved, you truly can be taken down from anything. You should keep that in mind. Maybe tailor what you have to say. You know, maybe you wouldn't be losing YouTube accounts if what you were was just preaching and not spouting outright hatred and lies and conspiracy theories and more lies and damned lies. Not statistics, though. You're too stupid for statistics.
KentHovind.tv. Okay? And you can go to any one of those, iOS, Apple TV, and it'll take you right to our app. Okay? You can like us.
Hey, okay. Damn it, I had to look. We've got a duality here. The Dino lamp is not on, but we have pixelated subscribe button, which they really should change since that's a YouTube subscribe button, but whatever. Good to see you, mate. How you doing? Dino lamp appears to be just tuckered out today. I'm kind of pissed about Dino Lamp, but we do get the like, share, comment, subscribe pixels. So all 7 of those pixels do make me smile. And Austin, yeah, it actually had to do with the debate partner Jim Bob was scheduled with. Apparently, he didn't want to have his debate partner be a woman. So there you go. All right, we're getting a couple of euro in. Nothing to say, just keep up the good work. From Booze and Rich, thank you, thank you. I enjoy my euros. If I may deviate with a tiny story one time, we had this woman when I worked at Toys R Us come in, and she was hell bent on paying, you know, part of the cash she paid with was a 10 euro piece or 10 cent euro piece. Our people were, you know, kind of adamant, like, you can't really, you know, it's not good here. And she was insistent. The funny thing about it is she didn't have any particular distinguishable accent. She sounded like any average, you know, educated enough American. So it was extremely confusing. I wound up just giving a dime in exchange for that 10 cent euro piece. And I forget which country in particular it was from. I think it was France. I'm not sure. If those even go that way, I could be misremembering something. But in whatever case, that's now in my collection of odd coins, which is somewhere in storage, like everything else in my life. Let's continue.
Subscribe, do all that stuff. If you know anybody who needs help growing in the Lord or needs help coming to the Lord, send them a copy, send them a link to our channel. We want to help with that. To help us stay open for free, go on our 7.
You're sure that you don't want to send them to KentHovind.tv to your app, where you can charge $5 a month? You notice he stopped saying the it's $1 a year thing. What scares me, and I know this may be me having like a bit of an ego or something, and I try not to. If you've talked with me at all, you'll realize my ego is actually quite diminished. Um, you know, I have to play it up sometimes online. Um, but like, God, that didn't sound like a humble brag at all. Y'all know what I mean. Um, I seriously think that comments that I make in my videos, they're taking it and realizing, oh, we should probably stop saying this. We should do this because the Dino lamp was never on until I complained about it. They kept saying the $1 a year, and I kept on bringing up that it wasn't, and eventually they stopped. And, you know, correlation isn't causation and all that crap, but I swear, given the things that I and others have commented on that stop as we keep commenting on them, someone in Kent's end of things does pay attention. Again, you'll notice he stopped bringing up whale anatomy nearly as often, probably because we constantly brought it up. But I don't know. I could be overthinking it, but when it comes to Hovind, the way his ego is, the way his obsession with image is, and the way he wants everyone else around him to present him, I feel like there's, you know, potential truth there. And we know Kent watches people's videos on him. He'll say he doesn't, but he does. Him or his hired goons. Him and his hired goons. Who knows? But let's continue.
77 Club. I want to help you guys keep going for the Lord. If you can, give $1 a day, okay? drdino.com is our website. Oh, coming up on almost 9 years now. I forgot to change the number. I don't know what it is, 8 point. Who cares? Okay. Visitors from all over the place. You guys been here a couple days? How you like the place? Dinosaur Adventureland.
You know, honestly, we could calculate out exactly how much power that dino lamp uses. I'm just saying, we found the dino lamp on Amazon, and no one has gotten it for me as a gift yet. St. Swithin's Day is coming sooner or later. 'Tis, Aunt Helga. There's a Simpsons reference for you. I didn't even pronounce it right, but still. No, we need to figure out what the power usage of the dino lamp is and figure out a donation to keep the lamp illuminated nonstop for a year. That'd be great. It's like this donation is specifically to fund Dino Lamp. Dino Lamp must remain on. And I'm telling you, I'm not even joking. If there's an estate sale at DAL when the inevitable happens, I want the Dino Lamp. I don't know why. I want that lamp. Oh, I got problems. And additionally, I want that stupid lamp. Oh, let's continue.
You recommend people, you come all the way from Canada. You recommend it to people? Price getting in was good? What was the kid's favorite thing to do here so far? Swing. The swing? That giant swing. Wait.
No, it was not be around Chris Jones.
Till you come back next time, we're going to have a zip line next to that swing going over almost to Noah's Ark. Yeah. And, yeah. Noah's Ark should be, well, it's never going to be done, is it? No. But it'll be doner, more doner, whatever, however you say it. Okay. Well, yeah, I know I'm wrong. Anyway, let's see.
Kent, that arc of yours, you're honestly going to get it mostly done sooner than later. Like, excuse me. I had to take some antacid to get started talking. The stomach acid, heartburn. It sucks. You guys, and this is me actually being very nice. Y'all don't give yourself enough credit on that stupid arc. It's stupid. It's a waste of money and resources. But you are making reasonable progress to a point where I see it as being roughly done relatively soon. So, this is the one time I'll say, don't, downplay what you guys have done, Kent. You've built a lot of that thing. There's still a lot to go, but far better than I would expect. Far better than it sounds like. Usually you're the other way around when you talk about stuff. Usually, overinflate everything. I put one stick in the ground and I just built the Taj Mahal. Hovind? That kind of shit. I don't know. I'm rusty at this. I hadn't streamed all week. Whatever. Y'all know what you're in for. Let's continue.
Want to get our 777 Club and help us open for free? You can get our video series, $50 for 18-hour seminar. Watch it, return it, get your money back.
Kent plays the game of if I sound silly or stupid, the kids will laugh, and it'll make me seem more relatable to them. And that's what he's doing here, even when he really shouldn't. See, for me, it's all about being a goof. I'm playing a clown. I'm funny. I amuse you. But, it's the character I'm playing here. With Kent, it's just, this is Kent. Did I mention I watched Goodfellas sometime in the past week? Never seen the film before. Way overdue for it. That was a good movie. Good movie.
Can't beat a deal like that. Get 3 of them for $100. Give them to your friends and enemies. Let's see. Get our Whoa series. What on earth is about to happen? While I was driving back from Fort Walton today, I took Bob Holmes to the airport to pick up a rental car in Fort Walton. And I left at 6 this morning. And coming back, I listened to just about the whole book of Revelation. Again, for the 4,000th time.
Yeah, that would be something you'd listen to on a car ride, Kent. That's pretty damn disturbing, honestly. I mean, we should expect nothing more from Kent, but man.
Folks, this is it. We are there. It's coming like a freight train. So get ready. Get our Whoa series. What on earth is about to happen? Get our timeline. Joseph's got it up there. Connect all those dots and you get a prize or something. All right. Let's see. February 20, oh, I forgot to move the dot, 28.
Standing for truth? No. You weren't there, Hovind. You know, construction permit, I honestly think that the area they live in is so backwater that such really might not be necessary to any degree like it was with a Pensacola. It might be at most getting something inspected, and they probably can build around that. Um, like no joke. So I don't know. When you get to the boonies of the United States, things get pretty open.
8th, got to move that down. So let's see. Open mic. If you have any questions or comments, I'll be glad to take them. You can call in or send questions in. Textbooks teach the kids mutations are supposed to be something that causes evolution.
Yes, because all it means is something changed in the copying process. And you're going to claim, oh, they're either neutral or harmful. They're never beneficial, but that's simply not true. Benefit can be determined from what actually happens when the gene is expressed and if there's some positive gain on that. It's really simple, Kent. But remember, we've got to go through all of Kent's bullshit over and over again to find the juicy bits in these videos because that's how this man operates. I skipped around and I don't think anybody calls in. I think he gets like one question sent in via text and that's it.
Mutations, they say, make something new and better. Natural selection makes it survive and take over the population. So if there's a new, better one evolved, then all the rest of them have to die.
No, not at all. Evolution deals with populations, Kent. You've been told this ad nauseum. You've been told everything ad nauseum, but I just have to constantly stress that you've been told this stuff repeatedly. And you, of course, run your same script. Everything you say has been addressed by a multitude of people for decades now in one facet or another. I'm not saying anything new. I'm just a different person delivering it with commentary that apparently some people find funny. Much funnier than they find you. Also, you want to talk about things dying and obsession with death. Once again, Christianity is, if you analyze it in a particular way, most definitely a death cult, Kent. So I would watch your phrasing.
See, evolution's a religion of death.
No, Christianity's a religion of death.
If one evolves,
And you know, it's not a religion because your definition of religion is just pathetic. It's not a definition at all. It's just it's literally a straw, not literally a straw man, but it is quite a very textbook case of simply a straw man classification to be able to just lump things together.
a little better, the rest have to die. This is Adolf Hitler 101. Pick out the superior race. Oh, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
There we go. 3 minutes in, Godwin's law broken. I mean, this man brings up Adolf Hitler more than a fucking World War II documentary. It's ridiculous.
Germans. Everybody else has to die to speed up the process. That's exactly what he was doing.
No. I don't have the energy to get into a discussion about Nazi ethnic beliefs and the actions taken. I'm trying to stay chillaxed during this. Because you're already starting to piss me off, Kent. So I don't have time to argue with your recorded ass on that subject. It suffices to say that, once again, for the most part, the Nazis rejected evolutionary ideas and that their in-ground bigotry and hatred was much like tying an onion to your belt. That is to say, was the style at the time. And they just took it to 11.
We covered that on video number 5, the one they put me in prison for.
They didn't put you in prison for DVD number 5. If DVD number 5 was such contraband and was such a horrible thing, how is it that I was able to secure a copy trivially upload it to my YouTube channel, do a 4-hour video reacting to it, and all of that content remain there. I've since deleted the upload of your DVD to my channel because it has no purpose. I don't want it on there, and it was unlisted specifically so I could play it from YouTube. Um, but yeah, this is the conspiracy theory. Schrodinger's they is what I'm going to call it. This they has all this power to just lock people up for the slightest thing they disagree with and to try to ban this, that, and the other. Yet somehow the content never seems to be magically restricted or immediately removed upon being placed on some major location like YouTube, Facebook, what have you. And these people, instead of just disappearing, only seem to be able to get in trouble for short periods of time in the order of, a few years or something, and then they're out and then they're still doing the same thing. It's so confusing that this all-powerful they that control everything are absolutely incompetent. I would really love to talk with you, Kent, about how they are so incompetent yet are in control. But I don't think you realize the contradiction that exists. Rant over. Let's continue.
Okay, let's see. Mutations, do they really help? This textbook right here says, Heath Biology, mutations are the original source of variation in populations, as shown by the many varieties of roses. Well, there's over 320 varieties of roses now, and they might have had a common ancestor. You know what it was? A rose. Yeah. The Bible says they bring forth after their kind.
Kent, you acknowledge the concept of variations. How do those variations come about? Mutation. Most animals, most plants, most life isn't. Let me rephrase this. Most of the complex life that people tend to think about isn't clonal. It isn't making exact duplicates of itself. There's always going to be variation. It's kind of become a thing that's kind of worked in by default, especially with sexual reproduction, kind of enticing variation and the like. But even amongst the individual progenitor elements for reproduction for a new organism to be spawned, there's going to be mutation. You're going to say, oh, yeah, well, it's still a rose, even if it's this type or that type, da-da-da. It's like, yes, but that change in and of itself was a mutation in much the same way hair-like structures starting to become what we know as feathers was a succession of mutations. It's the whole you can walk an inch, but you can't walk a mile thing with you guys.
But they're telling the kids a mutation can be a source of variation in a population. Well, sort of true, but it's still a rose. The variations stay within the same kind, like the Bible says they would. How many good mutations would it take to turn a protist, a single-celled?
One will have to explain this Norwegian joke here because obviously I'm too American to get it. Oh.
Creature into a fish or a tree or a human. How many good mutations? Nobody's ever seen one mutation that adds information like that.
I reject the concept of information when discussing genetics in anything more than a very rough analogy for one to understand the idea of what results from these chemical compounds being slightly different. How the chemistry changes. You say you taught all these high school classes for 15 years, Kent. You should understand that at its core, life is some relatively basic chemistry, just on a really intricate scale. I understand that molecules are not inherently data, like your analogy tries to work on. But even given that, this idea of new information versus not new, if it's different, it's new to that genetic lineage. Oh, your mom had red hair, and your dad had dark hair, and you wound up blonde. Whoa, how'd that happen? It's new to you. It's not much, but by any definition I'd use, it fits. So, don't know what you're going for, Kent, but you're not winning. And yes, I'm actually taking this clown seriously today, apparently. Huh.
Protist, single-celled creatures. Let's see, where's that one textbook, right? Oh, I had that today and I forgot to, here it is, okay. Protists.
All right, we got an answer from Deviant, since obviously I don't know my World War II history that well, although to be fair, I actually haven't looked up or done as much research into Scandinavia and World War II as I have other stuff. It's tended to stay with Central Europe, my interest, so I've kind of neglected that part of history. Much like I neglect the North Africa campaign quite a bit, even though that's got some fascinating stories in it. Oh God, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Quisling was the guy who sold out Norway to Hitler. His name is now synonymous with traitor both in Norway, Sweden, and even in English. Okay. So I've probably heard the phrasing before and it just didn't click, especially since I'm half blind and can't see shit. Like, I really need to hit an eye doctor sooner or later. uh, his name is a mini Hitler who sold out Norway in World War II.
A group of eukaryotic microorganisms have a wide range of chromosome numbers. Some protists have a relatively small number.
We got ambushed apostate in the chat, or as he got off in his call with Kent, ambushed apostate before he was cut off. They said he slapped and run, and then he hung up, but evidence shows otherwise, because ambushed apostate seriously brought the receipts. No, seriously, they did that to Seth. If you haven't seen, check out ambushed apostate's channel, or check out the ambushed apostate channel run by the lovely Seth here, and you will see the uncut video from his side of things, as well as him having done a commentary video on that event, which is pretty wild. So check that out.
Similar to those found in animals and plants, others have a much larger number. According to the search results, some protists have a high number of chromosomes, such as ciliated protozoa. They have the little hair on it called a cilia. Some have a bunch of these hairs. Each of those hairs is attached to a little motor that spins 100,000 RPM.
It's not a motor, Kent. It's not a motor.
Brother, you do mechanic work. Can you imagine making a motor turn 100,000 RPM? That's impressive. And this motors are so tiny.
Let's read the definition of motor, which I just looked up real quick. Motor. A machine, especially one powered by electricity or internal combustion, that supplies motive power for a vehicle or for some other device with moving parts. It's not a machine, although you would decry that it's created. Let's see. It's not powered by electricity or internal combustion. No. I wouldn't call metabolism on that scale internal combustion, if indeed any scale. In fact, definitionally, it's not internal combustion, but even analogous, I'd reject wanting to do that. Supplies motive power for a vehicle. Well, that's certainly not a vehicle, or some other device with moving parts. No, not a motor, Kent. Bad Kent. No, not a motor. Yeah, Kent, that's a bad Kent, Hovind.
If you took a hair off your head, cut it off, the stump of the hair would hold 8 million of those motors. And it turns 100,000 RPM. And you think it happened by chance. You certifiably insane. You'd have to go to college.
Yes, Kent. We're the insane ones. We're not the ones who believe in Dirt Man, Rib Woman, Burning Bushes talking to people, magic stone tablets, people wandering the desert for 40 years with a giant rock spewing out water floating behind them. Um, those same people being so stupid they don't know their way back home, and they have to wander for 40 years when it'd be a 2-week walk to where the first ones would be arriving before the last ones left. Let's see. Animals getting it on in front of striped sticks and having striped cattle or calves, talking donkeys, a divine creator knocking up some woman who had never done anything, even though she was married, so they should have already done something because women were just property in that culture anyway. So I don't understand that, although I know and am of the opinion that it definitely originally meant just maiden, referring to young woman, and it got perverted over because, of course, they're perverts. Um, let's see, sacrificing oneself to oneself for thought crimes that they themselves came up with as a way of forgiving someone for the rules that they put in place rather than just forgiving them by default. The very idea of sin itself. Let's see. All the crazy shit in Revelation that you said you were just listening to earlier. And I mean, and I know Jack Diddley about the details of the book. There's a lot of shit in there that I'm not familiar with, and I'd like to keep it that way because it's all pretty damn stupid. But we're the insane ones. Okay, Kent.
For years to be that dumb to believe something like that. The ciliated protozoa have 16,000 chromosomes. We're talking a single-celled creature, one cell.
Yes, I noticed that. He did say protist instead of amoeba. That is rather impressive. Could he be learning? Perhaps it can be taught.
Your body probably has 100 trillion cells in it. That's how small a cell is. And that, see,
You want to talk about how small something is, Kent? Let's look at the Planck length. Can you wrap your head around that? Can you wrap your head around the Planck temperature? Because I've got an idea for you that'll blow your mind. It involves the earliest phases of the universe's existence. Some stuff has hit me, and I need to articulate it before I spout my insane ideas, which really aren't that insane, and probably have already been come up with somebody. I'm just thinking. What's the word? I want to say quelling, like that's not it. Quandering, no. I've been thinking a lot about this stuff just because. During the off time, I've been watching a lot of like physics stuff, like deep physics stuff, way above my level, but just enough to where I can grasp some elements of it.
Single-celled creature can have 16 chromosomes. And you think it happened by chance?
16 chromosomes. 16,000, you fucking moron. And Kent, chromosome count. I don't know how many times we have to tell you creationists this. Chromosome count is kind of irrelevant. There's a lot of whatever crammed in there. And, these things are really, really inefficient from a chemical level. It's interesting that as you get to more, as you'd say, complicated creatures, that chromosome counts tend to drop. I've noticed this little pattern. I mean, it's still all over the place, but we have how many chromosomes we have. The dogs have such and such. Your birds got such and such. Your plants got such and such different ones. But it's not that ridiculous in a lot of cases. Almost as if the amount of random, for lack of a better term, junk in the DNA has been slowly refined over time. And that if a complete deletion of completely pointless genetic material happens, it works out. That's my takeaway from this, though. But creationist obsession over chromosome counts is stupid because they think of it as every bit of it is, well, they have to think of it as every single bit of the genetic material codes for something is, transposed. I mean, proteins are produced for something. And that a lot of it can't just not do anything because they don't fucking understand DNA.
Ernst Haeckel made up his first family.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. We're back to fucking Haeckel. God fucking damn. Kent, would you stop fucking bringing up Haeckel? I don't give a flying fuck about Ernst Haeckel. I just don't. The only thing I give a damn about Haeckel is the fact that his name is kind of fun to say. I like the name Ernst. There's a lot of German names I really like saying. That's as far as it goes. I don't give a fucking shit about him, his embryo drawings, or any trial or any of that crap. And I would tell you this in a debate. I would interrupt you and immediately say this. I don't give a fuck if it would sit there and piss off Donnie. Donnie can suck a dick just like you can. All right? Shut the fuck up about Haeckel. Gets fucking old man. And that's saying a lot when we're talking about Kent Hovind.
Tree back in 1866, showing the protista, all going back to a common ancestor. This is pure propaganda. All it is, baloney. Protozoa, single-celled creature, protista, are incredibly complex. Darwin said, it's a truly wonderful fact that all animals and all plants throughout all time and space should be related to.
Sorry, I was reading my lovely comments. Kent, you brought up complexity. Once again, simplicity is the hallmark of design, not complexity. I happen to be a big fan of elements of engineering and the like. Like the old phone network. I've got a lovely piece of 1950s Dreyfus engineering, which contains the electrical components of a 1930s phone. It's a pretty cool little hybrid. Beautiful, beautiful way to modernize and redo old phone tech, at least modernize it for 1950s standards. Simple, elegant engineering, beautiful curves, beautiful lines. It's a complicated machine, yes, but not that complicated. It could be more complicated. And indeed, the device that replaced it is arguably simpler. Because that's what engineering and design tends to go for, is an inherent simplicity, an inherent elegance, rather than the cobbled together mess that life on Earth actually is. Y'all always want to pull the look at the trees. It's like, I look at life and I see it as an absolute, just bastard hodgepodge of things in the most beautiful way. Because I genuinely love the diversity of life on this world. But I still can see it for what it is, a hodgepodge of shit. Hence why we are apes. That's what our lineage is from. You decry it. I'm just like, yep, I'm an ape. It's cool. Okay. I'm connected to all the other life on the planet. That's cool too. I can see the gradation. I can see where this and that get tacked on. It's like that nerve that we all bring up that runs under the heart and then back up, and how it goes back to like early some fish, like early chordates, and it's like, yeah, that's some pretty hodgepodge BS. And you just kept on going because that's where it was, and just kept going. Yeah, it's your next generation creature. Hey, God, we gonna fix this? Nah, it's good. We're just gonna create everything with that weird trait that makes no sense, has no purpose being like that. That's just a fun one. And I know I'm just rambling, but that's what I feel like doing today. I guess I titled the video right. This is definitely a whack a Hovind. So if it wasn't for the fact that I've already said a bunch of no-no words, according to Kent, this would be a good one for him to do a whack an atheist on. Whack an atheist, whack curse a tomato. He won't. But it'd be a fun one because there's actually something to say for him to respond to.
To each other. Charlie, you are dreaming. It was a nightmare. I think you know better now. Stood before God already.
Yeah, so you know better. Ha ha ha! My imaginary friend's gonna get you. Boy, you Christians, for a loving people, really sure are obsessed with the idea of punishment, torture, torment, and things being, thought crimes. Boy, real loving of you.
Pierre deGrasse Tyson, not Pierre deGrasse, said, no matter how numerous they may be, mutations do not produce any kind of evolution. All they do is rearrange.
I don't give a flying fuck who Pierre Paul Grass is.
Existing information. They don't increase the complexity. Let's see. Mutations have many possible causes. By the way, Joseph, interrupt me if somebody comes in with a question there, okay? Okay.
Oh, wow. Kent giving somebody permission to interrupt him for once.
Mutations seem to happen spontaneously, without any outside influence. They occur when errors are made during DNA replication. So when the DNA replicates, makes a copy, there's a mistake made. What can cause that? Well, other mutations.
Wait. Did he say when a DNA makes a copy?
made during DNA replication. So when the DNA replicates,
Oh, no, he said okay, because I was thinking he said when A, and I'm like, tell me you don't care about the subject without telling me you don't care about the subject.
makes a copy, there's a mistake made. What can cause that? Well, other mutations are caused by environmental factors. Anything in the environment that can cause a mutation is known as.
Y'all, we got AJ in the chat with the banger of Kent having an extra chromosome. Oh, I shouldn't laugh, but I was thinking the same thing earlier, but restrained myself from making the joke.
As a mutagen. Examples of mutagens
But, if anyone else wants to make the jokes that I don't make, feel free.
are shown in the figure below. UV radiation from the sun, X-rays, dental, medical, airport screening. They can cause a mutation. They're causing a mistake, a typographical error. Chemicals can cause it. Smoking or vaping can.
Michael in bringing up there was one important rule he learned getting his engineering degree. Keep it simple, stupid. Yep, the KISS principle. And no, it's not rock and roll all night and party every day. It is keep it simple, stupid. You want devices, you want everything to be only as complicated as necessary to get the job done. It's that simple. You think God would understand that, but obviously not. His degree is obviously not in engineering. It's a degree in, well, we won't say.
Can cause it. Nitrate preservatives can cause it, can cause chemical mutations, okay? Benzoyl peroxide, stuff they put on for acne, can cause.
And let's note here that Kent is going on mutations and stuff to individuals. That while, yes, there are cases where mutagenic substances can cause changes that will affect the reproductive lineage. This is all loaded. This is Kent doing all these things will cause mutations, and you'll get toxic waste, and you'll become the toxic crusader, or toxic avenger, excuse me. Sorry, I grew up watching the cartoon, and it was Toxic Crusaders. I grew up like the Toxic Avenger, and have a mop, and I forget what that movie was about. It scared me too much. Hovind. Fucking love the Toxic Avenger movies. I love trauma films. I love their slop. It's so great. But no, he's seriously trying to create the equivalency that if it's a mutation and mutations are bad because all these mutations are bad, and it's like that's not what's meant, Kent.
Mutations. The HPV virus can cause mutations. Mutations are harmful or fatal or useless.
No. It's a simple change, Kent.
Types of mutations.
I mean, Kent, you're... I had something I was going to say, but I can't think of a way to phrase it that I feel adequately gets the point I want to get across, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm just saying, Kent, you're aging. Aging process kinda involves elements of this M word.
Germline occurs in this.
Oh, but of course you'll say, "Oh, that's harmful or negative or fatal." And it's like, still. See, I don't know where exactly I was going to go with that. I had the thought, and then it just lost it completely. So, happens to the best of us. That's why I do these things live, so y'all can hear my successes and my failures. Okay, actually, I edited out the fail. No, I don't. Let's keep going.
Sex cells means you're going to pass it on to your kids. Somatic mutations occur in other cells in the body. These mutations have little effect on the organism because they're confined to just one cell and its daughter cells. Somatic mutations cannot be passed on to the offspring. Chromosomal alterations are mutations.
All right, Mark's in the chat. What up, comrade?
That change chromosome structure. They occur when a section of the chromosome breaks off and rejoins incorrectly. You'd be like, how many lines of code are there? You got to find out this, Joseph. Microsoft PowerPoint, for example, contains how many lines of code to do PowerPoint? Millions. Okay? What if those lines of code telling the computer what to do What if it was a break in the middle of the line?
Hey, Kent. At the software level, you're not, at that software level, at that user level, the code isn't telling the computer what to do. Instructions in the operating or in the program are being interpreted by link libraries and pre-built assets in the operating system, which then handles what it needs to, usually running the program in at least its own memory space at the very least, to where it certainly shouldn't cause too many issues if something goes horribly wrong. That's why, unlike the dinosaur days of good old Windows 9X, where DOS was handling everything in the background, not quite literally, but we'll get into that. When a program crashes, it usually doesn't take your whole system down. That's also how you can run multiple programs, Kent. You think you're running PowerPoint? No, you're running Windows NT that is running PowerPoint. To really dumb it down, I only bring this up to say that even an off the cuff, you know, just random explanation on how a computer works is more accurate than the garbage Kent spewing constantly. Also ignoring the fact that code is compiled into an executable, which is what's actually run. You don't run direct source code. Not in this context. Meaning that if there was an issue, the program wouldn't have compiled because the linking process would have failed. Ask me how I know, Kent. I've done commercial software work. Very limited, but I've still done it.
And then it got stuck someplace else. It wouldn't work. So chromosomal mutation.
Yes, Kent, but if you want to... So, I listened the other morning at work to the conspiracy cats Hovind debate. You know, the famous one that brought us... I'm not prepared for that. And I do want to cover that one, although honestly the Q&A at the end is probably the best thing to cover. The rest of the debate is it's good, but it's like it's too much talking one way or the other and not too as much discussion. Kent used the phrase what about all the code in Microsoft PowerPoint? It's for when can you change it and make it an Apple? Trying to imply making it a program for a Macintosh system, and I'm thinking to myself, if you have the source code, yes, Kent. Technically speaking, you can change any program into anything if you want to go through and rewrite that much of it. That's the funny thing about code. It's instructions to do what you want to do. It's a little more arbitrary, a little more abstract when it comes to DNA if one wants to use the code analogy, but there's nothing preventing any given change. So your own analogy falls apart, buddy. Whew. Thank you all for staying around while I ramble. Apparently, this is just a day where I just want to rant. But hey, that's what you're here for. Plus, this is an actual whacking of Hovind, so just laughing at his stupidity, I'm actually addressing his garbage. So, yeah. Um, by the way, remember, there's the super chat goal. If I can get 10 of those $5 or more super chats, or whatever that converts to into your local currency of awesomeness, we will hit up the banned Mormon cartoon sooner rather than later. It's going to happen. It's just, we can get a little boost for the beginning of the month. That'll help. No pressure. You got to sell out sooner or later, right? Let's continue.
Are breaking the chromosome and reattaching it somewhere else. The odds of that being beneficial are zero. Okay? Chromosomal alterations are very serious. They often result in the death of the organism in which they occur. If the organism survives, it may be affected in multiple ways. An example of human disease caused by chromosomal duplication is the Charcot-Marie tooth disease, characterized by muscle weakness, as well as loss of muscle tissue and sensation. The most common cause of this is a duplication of chromosome number 17. It's not helpful. Here's a mutation. That's not helpful, okay? Here's a mutation. That's not helpful. Here's a mutation. One eye. Here's mutations of the eye. Persistent pupillary membrane, a condition of the eye. Let's see, yayo.
As we pause on those horrific images, $5 super chat from Regios. Interesting subject for a goal. Hey, thank you. That's 1 out of 9, or 1 out of 10. 9 left to go. Well, let's do this. Let's earn more money than Ken Hovind today. Oh.
Double iris. That's a mutation. This one's got 2 different color eyes, mutants in the eyes. How's that for a mutation? Quite a beard, huh?
Kent, what about that particular family that has the, for lack of a better term, near unbreakable bones? Or what about that one kid, he's now an adult, but whatever, who his muscle mass was far higher than it should have been? Wasn't a detriment to it. Everything was good. It wasn't like his muscles were crushing him. He's happy, healthy, normal. Except if that boy wants to bulk up again, he's gonna do it. How about the ability to digest lactose? You brag about being Norwegian. Do your Swedish chef impressions. That's what it freaking sounds like to me. I don't even know if what you're saying is actually Norwegian or not, but it sounds offensive. Damn it. And you brag about all that, somehow forgetting that not only is the blonde hair a mutation, and your light skin is a mutation, but that your ability to digest lactose is that mutation is a trait common to Europeans. It doesn't really happen much in other ethnic backgrounds. Adapted to our environment, adapted to a source of nutrients. Hey, yeah, come on, Kent. Just think about it for a bit. You'll figure it out.
That's a mutation. This is what they are. They're not helpful. They're not adding new information. They're harmful, fatal, or neutral. They duplicate the genes. They delete some parts. They invert it, flip it over, invert it, translocation, move
Down, flip it, and reverse it. Over.
Move it to the wrong spot. Insertion. There's a mutation.
Yeah, Laura, I certainly don't think some of them were either, if any of them, honestly. I actually have a thing about the human eye, like close-ups of it actually kind of freak me out. It's just a thing. So, just one of those things I got to deal with.
Mutation. His whole family got mutation. So you should always check for spelling errors.
Now, okay, Kent, right there shows something fascinating, is that a person just taking a look at that, they'll notice, hey, that's wrong, but for some reason we can read it just fine. Why is that? Maybe because there's enough information there to do the job. You want to draw this analogy, and again, chemistry isn't quite this way, but the way we read, the way our brain looks at the first and last letter, and then apparently processes what's in the middle as just what letters are there. What combinations do we immediately recognize there? And it forms the concept in our head. We form the word. That's apparently a rough thing on how reading actually works, and hence why once you get that skill down, speed reading becomes a thing. I tend to skim through stuff, and actually it's a problem. Sometimes I get too fast and have to go back. Yeah, because we have that kind of error correction going on to where we know that's check. If I was rewriting, if I was for whatever reason writing everything that was on the screen, if I didn't need this to be exact, I would write it the way it's properly done, like your dictation of it. I would write it properly. I have performed error correction on that. There are genetic processes on that, but still a little different. But this analogy does not make the point you want it to, is where I'm going. I'm always going somewhere. It may not be that relevant, but damn it, I'm going somewhere because we're obviously going for a hardcore Hovind video today. This isn't our normal BS. We're only like 9 minutes, 10 minutes in. Damn. Up yours, Kent.
All they are is spelling errors, guys. I never make typos.
Never right there is a fine example. If you just glance over it, you might not even notice.
Oh, to the typographical error. Can you read that? What's that say? Paris?
Yeah, Paris in the spring.
No, doesn't say that.
Or that right there, the trick that gets everybody. Because again, the way we read and the way we group things up in our mind. But our brain is not genetic material. Our brain is not the change in allele frequencies over, well, it is change in allele frequencies over populations, but I mean, the way we think about language is not population genetics. It's another aspect of population. I'm thinking too deep onto my own responses. Y'all know what I mean.
Paris? What's it say? Paris in the spring. Yeah. That's an example of a duplication. It's not adding any information to the sentence. Let's see.
But is it harming the sentence? He obviously read it perfectly fine. So, you know.
Biggest typo in church history. Back in the old days when they printed Bibles, they had to put every letter in there backwards, on the press and be able to press it onto the paper. Somebody made a goof. In putting the 10 Commandments up, they said in Exodus chapter 20, honor thy father and mother. Verse 13, thou shalt not kill. Verse 14, thou shalt commit adultery. They left out the word not. Okay, thou shalt not. Example of typographical errors. The road to Sydney, misspelled on the patch. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, none of this is genetics, Kent. Just gonna keep on.
Examples and observations. A typo can change the meaning of anything. Like, this is a book. Because of a typo, Florida Sheriff's Office received a rug, said, in dog we trust.
Dogs are real. Deviant caught this one. They are harmful, helpful, or neutral. For fuck's sake, he said it himself, right after having said they're never beneficial. Thank you, Deviant. I'll have to go back and check that. Do a video like where he said it's not evidence of a common designer.
It'll be auctioned off as a benefit for Animal Research Rescue Group, okay? Let's see. Typo of the year went to Reuters in this 2005 Quaker-made meats. On Tuesday, they said it would voluntarily recall 94,000 pounds of frozen ground beef panties. I think they meant patties. Yeah, okay. That's a typo, okay. Penguin Group Australia turns over 120 million a year from printing words, but a one-word misprint cost it dearly. The publishing company was forced to pulp and reprint 7,000 copies of Pasta Bible last week after a recipe called for salt and freshly ground black people instead of pepper. That's a typo, guys, okay? Here's a mutation, a five-legged bull. That's not new information.
No. That's a absorbed twin, dumbass.
It already had legs. It put an extra leg in the wrong spot. That's not a mutation. Mutations can remove information. They can duplicate it. They can scramble it. They can't improve the creature.
Except they totally can and do, dumbass. Also, we're not talking about individuals. We're talking about populations. Notice in this entire thing that Kent is focused on the idea of the individual.
Nobody's shown one that improves anything. There is no scientific evidence that mutations support evolution theory or can add new useful information. If it exists, call me. I want to see it. Here's a short-legged sheep. That's a mutant. It's not new information.
Kent, based on the way sexual reproduction goes and the way genetics likes to be a little fast and loose with things on duplication and recombination and those processes, everyone is a mutant in one way or another.
It already had legs. You just made them too short. Here's a two-headed turtle. That's a mutant. It's not ninja, but it's mutant, okay? And the
There we go. Mark called it.
poor thing's going to freeze first winter. Nobody makes a double-neck turtleneck sweater, okay?
Wow, that joke was lame, even for you.
From the letters of the word Christmas, you can get has, Matt, Sam, Christ, Ram, Sam. You can make a lot of words from the word letters in the word Christmas. You cannot get Xerox, zebra, or queen. There's no X, there's no Z, and there's no Q.
Print them out. Give me a precision knife. I'll make Christmas say Xerox, zebra, queen. I'll make it say it easy. Show you that you're wrong. Just rearrange parts of stuff. Y'all are ones to love irreducible complexity. Well, those letters aren't irreducibly complex. They're just shapes. If I make them into shapes for other letters, there you go. I can easily turn that C into a Q. Take the I and the T, make X's. Oh, the M would make a good X as well. Can easily turn that into some X. Let's see, Z, how to make the Z. Oh, flip around the part of the M. You know, I'm just doing on the fly right here, right now. Just mentally, just doing some rearranging. You know, the only reason I'm taking this stuff seriously is because I'm entertaining the audience. This shouldn't need explaining. There's nothing here really to explain, but I still find a way to tear what you say apart. Because I'm just that petty sometimes. Oh, you're a fucking clown, Kent.
A mutation is not going to give you something new. Here's a normal fruit flies have 2 wings. This mutant has 4. This rare mutation, like most mutations, is harmful. Yep. Beneficial mutations are the raw material for natural selection. Wait. Why don't they show us one? They show us a bad mutation, and then they tell us about the good one.
You know, Kent, you see examples of beneficial mutations all the time in every single extinct species that we've reconstructed and can show evolutionary progress. Every single adaptation that all life existing right now has is a beneficial mutation. But you won't see it as a mutation because you see it as normal. The only time you think of mutation, you think of the abnormalities when they express themselves. No. Also, that biology book looks oddly familiar. But this is 1996, so I was in 6th grade, so there's no way. But it looks strangely familiar. Maybe that art was reused or something. I don't know.
Show me a good one. Here's a fruit fly, has legs growing out where his eyes and antenna should be. That's not helpful, okay? One professor I debated said he could prove beneficial mutation. People who have sickle cell anemia cannot get malaria. Oh, that's brilliant.
Kent, you've been called on this numerous times. There is a gene, a bit of the genetic code that causes a resistance to malaria. However, a side effect of it is the possibility of the condition known as sickle cell anemia. So while technically you're not wrong in saying that people who have sickle cell anemia can't get malaria, since the gene that causes the defect of sickle cell anemia is the one that inhibits malaria from infecting the body, the point you're making is wrong. This is an all zots or zips, but not all zips or zots kind of thing. I believe AJ called you out on this. I'm sure R and Raw has called you on this. I'm sure everyone's called you out on this. But damn, Kent.
It's like saying if you cut off your legs, you can't get athlete's foot. That's true. Yeah. It's not beneficial. Okay. Beneficial mutations. Some have positive effect. They allow the organism to withstand environmental factors or reproduce quicker. Example, color allows animals to camouflage better. Wait. The penguin has white feathers. That's a mutation. It already had feathers. Feathers are really complicated. It lost.
Yeah, it's really complicated. That's how I judge everything, is how complicated it is, even though I don't understand complexity whatsoever, because I'm Kent fucking Hovind, and the whole universe is fucking complicated to me, because I've got the brain of a goddamn rock lobster.
Lost color. It didn't gain anything. It lost the pigment. That's not adding information. I'm sorry. Beneficial mutation. 40 villagers have a point mutation that alters the protein produced in just one amino acid. This protein is 10 times more effective at mopping
Shit, I gotta hurry up. AJ's going live in 30.
up excess cholesterol. They already had the blood system, the bloodstream, the arteries, the capillaries, the veins, the heart, the lungs to supply the oxygen. They already had a whole complete system. One little change makes them mop up cholesterol better. And that's going to turn an amoeba to a whale? You're going to have quadrillions of mutations that are beneficial. Beneficial mutations, bacteria, antibiotic resistance. That's not going to change a bacteria to a whale. The MRSA virus found, superbugs, okay? Biology textbooks and other chapters teach that most mutations are pathological, I mean they're bad, or disease-causing, but they don't apply that information to evolution. The worst diseases doctors treat today are caused by genetic mutations. Nearly 4,000 diseases caused by mutations in the DNA. The human genome contains a complete set of instructions.
AJ popping in the chat for those who aren't noticing, or those who watch this later, with details on what he's researched on sickle cell anemia and the like, because again, he's done the more hardcore research than me, and I will totally defer to someone who has shown that they've looked into this further than I would have, unlike Kent, who thinks he knows everything.
For the production of a human being. Genome research has already exposed errors, mutations in these instructions that lead to heart disease, cancer, neurological degeneration. These diseases are crippling, often fatal, and many of the affected
And yeah, expression matters heavily in genetics, as AJ's comments on sickle cell demonstrate. That's sort of where I was trying to go with stuff, but I don't always phrase things the best way. And again, there's nuance that I, of course, wasn't quite able to articulate. So, thank you.
Preborn infants are aborted spontaneously. They're so badly damaged, they can't even survive gestation.
Yep, that's your God for you, the ultimate abortionist, Hovind.
However, biology textbooks, while discussing mutation in evolution, only discuss the very rare positive mutation in, like sickle cell anemia. The fact of some 4,000 devastating genetic diseases is suppressed.
Oh hell, AJ got a new mic.
So if you got 4,000 bad ones and one that you think is positive, this is from the announcement of the University of Texas, mutations are harmful. So they talk about natural selection. So I'd like President Trump and his team to get, very simple, get the lies out of our textbooks. 5? What's that mean? Oh, extension 5, okay. 855 Big Dino, extension 5. You want to talk to Joseph for 4? Okay. Why'd you put a 5 up?
Because I sneezed. I'm saying I'm sorry.
Okay.
They don't even know their own extensions.
So let's see. Anyway, questions or comments? Call in quickly before we have run out of time here.
I have a few questions, but nobody's in the studio.
Okay, go ahead. Maybe it's not the subject, but I have a Bible question.
Wait, Otaku, are you talking about me and nuance? Or did Kent actually say the word nuance? Because, yeah, I mean, I have a way I say nuance. I don't know. I have a weird way I say a lot of words. What, you want to fight about it? Nah.
How do the two different accounts of Saul meeting David reconcile? I haven't seen that one. There's a book called The So-Called Errors in the King James Bible. I've got it here somewhere. You have that one you can put up on screen? We sell it, don't we?
Yeah, we sell it.
Peter Ruckman. He was rude, crude, crass, mean, but brilliant, okay? Down in Pensacola.
Oh, yeah, so as long as you believe the same BS as you can say whatever you want. Okay, good to know, Kent.
It's called the so-called errors in the King James Bible.
I don't have that one in my store.
Yeah, Otaku X. That's just the way I say it.
I got the Gail Ripplinger's New Age.
Yeah, okay, I'm not familiar with that particular so-called mutation. Not mutation, yeah, error, contradiction. I cover lots of those on video number 7 of my series, which you can get. Let's see, seminar part 7 is 5 hours long. Get the whole thing for $50, all 7 parts. But I don't recall that particular one. I've never heard it. I'll look it up. Saul meeting David, unless he met him several different times. I'll find out, okay. Okay, any more there? Let's see, terrible lizard. You say that all the layers were formed from the water rushing in from the
Oh, okay, AJ. Cool. Yeah, I had seen this as I was skimming through. I didn't realize that was you. Awesome.
sides of the tidal bump. Those would be sedimentary layers. How do you account for aeolian deposits? Well, I covered this the other night. Aeolian deposits is covered by wind, like a wind-blown sand dune or something, okay? Not by water. If during the course of the flood, Noah was in the ark for over a year, that does not mean the whole world is covered in water for a year. Parts of the earth might have only been underwater for a few days or a few weeks. How long would it take to drown everybody?
Kent said drowned, and Otaku X with my whole thing on nuance, saying or with the A stress. It's funny, I don't feel like I say it stress, but I mean nuance. I don't know. Now I'm gonna be self-conscious about that. Oh man, but this is definitely a good question, AJ. Hitting them with just the stuff that honestly needs to be asked again and again and again.
Don't you think if the water came up 50 feet in Alabama, covered the whole state of Alabama for a week, that'd be enough to drown everybody?
You said it
swim for a
again.
week? Okay. So I don't know, but the crust of the earth was broken up at the time of the flood. We know that it's still broken up. There's fault lines all over the place. It's like a big puzzle put together. So I think the earth was cracked apart like an eggshell, and pieces of the crust of the earth were flexing up and down. So there might have been some parts during the flood where the crust parts that are sticking up above water, and the wind could blow and dry it out. Could have been above water for weeks or
Kent, there's only one thing that blows around here, and that's you.
months, and then back down. So you could get an air-blown deposit during the flood. You guys are under the false assumption that the flood was all covered the whole world the whole time for a year. Not true at all. All we know is Noah's in the ark for a year. But 2 Peter 3 says the scoffers will be willingly ignorant of.
I don't have an answer to that, but the Bible's going to say people are going to make fun of it. So I'm just going to bring that up because that's our get out of critical thinking free card.
The creation and the flood. 2 Peter 3. They don't want to believe that flood.
Yeah, and the book of Chris says you're a dumbass.
That the creation explains a lot of things, why we got dinosaurs, and the flood explains all the geology of the world, I think. Okay? Do beetles walk on 4 legs or 6? Well, I cover that. Let's see. Home. Let me get to my. That'll be on part 7, I think.
That guy's name was seriously David Bolzalk. Okay, dude. Mr. Ballsack.
Supposed contradictions. Part 7. I cover that. Do insects have 4 legs or a 6 leg? Let's see. Here we go. Right here. What's that? Well, now watch carefully here. Supposed contradictions. If this will come. Oh, can't do it. Enable content. I got to go over here. Click that button. It does this to me every time, brother. There. Supposed contradictions. Do insects have, there you go. Giant insects? No, that's not it.
Yep, this is really riveting content.
I started a whole new PowerPoint presentation on just contradictions, and I might have slipped all those slides into that one. Let's see, can you lose your salvation? Do insects, to Genesis 1, conflict with Genesis 2. One moment here, folks. I'd like to be able to call up my slides and get all this. How many men did Solomon kill? Is Easter a contradiction? Is Jonah swallowed by a whale or a fish?
It's quality.
How did Jonah live 3 days in the whale?
Such
How many
quality
horsemen?
content.
Oh, here we go. Slide number 1841. That explains it. Alt-DV. 1841. It says in Leviticus, "And these you may eat of flying, creeping things, the locust, the beetle, the grasshopper, but all other flying, creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you." Here, this might cause a genuine problem to any entomologist who does not study the language of the King James. Insects definitely have 6 legs, not 4, according to our way of thinking. Now, of course, this dishonest skeptic who wants the Bible believer to think the writer of Leviticus had never seen a grasshopper, a beetle, a wasp, or cockroach in his entire life, was that stupid to think insects have 4 legs instead of 6. Moses obviously knew that flying, creeping things have 6 legs. The problem here isn't a scientific error, it's defining terms. Before we get to the real problem of verse 23,
And Kent, we'd expect a book that's created by some all-perfect entity or inspired by some all-perfect entity to conform with our scientific understanding and to be very ahead of the curve in what it says. But that's not what we see.
let's deal with a minor one. Every flying, creeping thing that goeth upon all 4. All 4 what? It doesn't tell us. If you answer 4 legs or 4 feet, there would not be an error. How do you know? Upon all 4 is an expression, not a literal meaning of crawling and supporting itself on 4 appendages. How do we know? Look at the verse right before it. 4 fowls are said to go upon all 4. That would be birds. Okay. Don't sit there and tell me that Moses didn't know birds only had.
Oh, no, that was the old baseball rule back in the biblical era, that 4 foul balls was for the birds. I thought that was funny.
2 legs and 2 feet. Don't be that absurd. Going upon all 4 is a human expression to define something that creeps low to the ground. Because when we crawl, we go upon all 4. Now the real problem. Firstly,
And yes, I realized after I typed it that I had fudged it, so thank you, Otaku X, for fixing that Simpsons reference. Added an extra hyper in there. And probably had something out of order.
the text did not say it
Either way, it's not as good as name to, it doesn't have quite the same ring as Cutco or Edgecom. Interslice.
had a total of 4 feet. He gave a commandment saying if it had 4 feet, you weren't supposed to eat it. Looking at it that way, insects do have 4 feet. If the dishonest skeptic faces God one day in judgment and points out this error, and God used this argument, the skeptic certainly couldn't prove him wrong. Secondly, insects in Leviticus, when comparing Scripture with Scripture, do have a total of 4 feet.
Man, y'all be mean today. My baseball joke landed like a Kent joke. Oh, man. Oh, I'm pretty damn rusty, ain't I? And take a week off, and all of a sudden you're making Ken Hovind level jokes. You're doomed, Chris. Hovind.
The 2 back sets of appendages are considered legs and feet. That's 4. And the front 2 are considered arms and hands. You ever look at the insects mentioned in Leviticus? The front 2 appendages shoot forward from the body. The other 2 sets shoot backward. How do we know the front pair is considered arms and hands? Look at Proverbs 30. The spider taketh hold with her hands. So beetles have.
You know, Kent, you wouldn't have to go into all this detail trying to defend all this stuff if you didn't take your magic book of bullshit so literally.
4 feet and 2 hands. Now they happen to walk on them all the time. I know a lot of people can walk on their hands. I used to when younger, in better shape. Grasshoppers have 4 feet and 2 hands. The spider taketh hold with her hands. They have 4 facing backwards and 4 facing forward. Interesting. So God explains it just fine. The fact that spiders.
Interesting. I'm 72 years old, but I just discovered spiders have 8 legs, and I found it interesting. Hovind?
Spiders have 8 appendages instead of 6 like insects is irrelevant. It shows that insects in the Bible have both hands and feet. No matter what any entomologist says, the front 2 feet of the Leviticus insects are hands, making the beetle have 4 feet.
Yes, the people whose job it is to study bugs don't know what they're talking about, but the Bible knows everything. Par for the course with Hovind.
And that's that. That was John Combs, used to work at our ministry in Pensacola. Hey, John, if you see my video, thank you, and come visit sometime.
No, he doesn't want to get involved with you again, I'm sure. And also, he used to, what? At your old ministry?
The beetle have 4 feet.
What'd you say there, Ken? I just want to make sure that I heard the word that I thought I heard.
And that's that. That was John Combs, used to work at our ministry in
Oh, yeah, used to work at our ministry in Pensacola. Okay, just making sure. But, it was DVD 5 that put you in jail.
Pensacola. Hey, John, if you see my video, thank you, and come visit sometime. Okay, any other ones there, brother?
No, sir. Not
How many blind men did Jesus heal in Jericho?
Over 9,000.
Atheists love to pick at contradictions like this. Let me just cover one more and we'll quit, okay?
Yes, because a perfect book shouldn't have any contradictions. It's that simple, Kent. Like the Book of Chris contains no contradictions. Except for the part between the front cover and the back cover, that one part in it. I forget exactly where it is, but
As they departed from Jericho, a great multitude followed, and behold, two blind men sitting by the way. When they heard that Jesus passed by, cried out, "Have mercy on us, O Lord, thou Son of David." And the multitude rebuked them, saying, "Hold your peace." So that's Matthew 20, verse 9. "Have mercy on us." And Jesus stood still and called unto them and said, "What will ye that I shall do to you?" They said, "That our eyes may be opened." And Jesus had compassion and touched their eyes, and they were able to follow him. But when you read the story in Mark chapter 10, and they came to Jericho, as he went out of Jericho with his disciples and a great multitude, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the highway side begging. And when he heard it was Jesus, he began to cry out, "Have mercy on me." So was it one man or two? And Jesus stood still and commanded him to be called. And they called the blind man, saying, "Hey, the Lord calls for you." So he came over to Jesus. So let's see. When you read the story in Luke, came to pass, as they was come nigh to Jericho, a certain blind man sat by the wayside. Now hold it. Is it one man or two? Very simple. It's very simple.
Jesus hung out with all the men at once. If you know what I mean.
In Matthew, it says, as they departed from Jericho, there were two blind men. Luke says, as he was come nigh unto Jericho, there was one blind man. Mark 10, as they came.
And then after the Americans came for the oil, there were no blind men. There were no men at all.
To Jericho. On the way in, he healed one. On the way out, he healed two. There's no contradiction. Now, if I was God, I would write the Bible like this so that those who want to doubt it anyway would grasp at this and think there's an error, so they look like a fool when they stand before God Judgment Day. That's my humble opinion. Okay, any other questions or comments? That's it. Sounds great. You guys taking off in the morning? I got to go to Pensacola to pick up the guy that can come look at the van. So I'm leaving at 6 in the morning, Lord willing. So anybody need me, too bad.
Don't come back, Kent.
I'll be back about 9 or so. Okay, thank you so much. See you tomorrow. No, I won't. Sunday. Bye.
Okay, and that's the end of that. All right, we did our whacking of the Hovind. We had some fun. Yeah. Sorry, when I set the stream up, I was a little more energetic. Kind of got a little worn down as the day progressed. Excuse me. It's all right. But yeah, let us go to AJ's channel and watch his upcoming stream, which should be here in just a little bit. Definitely I'll go over there and check out that. If I'm feeling the urge after I'm done, we may still go on and watch after AJ's done, we may still watch the Band Mormon cartoon. Story behind that thing. I may save it for tomorrow. We'll see how I'm feeling.